What's going on all you gamers? Today we're going to be jumping into a little bit more Diablo 2 Resurrected and going over all the best places to farm in Act 1 on Hell difficulty. So if you're trying to gear up, get ahead a little bit and want to know the best place to actually farm and get some good loot, then stay tuned. That's coming up next. Welcome back you guys and girls, as always, for all things Xbox, for all things gaming, and why not hit that subscribe and bell icon. I'll bring you all the latest and greatest content, hints, tips, guides and builds, and just some fun gameplay and reviews of upcoming games. But for today I'm going to be going over all of the best places that you can farm some really nice items from in Act 1 on Hell difficulty. So if you're looking to gear up, get ahead, get some nice loot and even maybe some runes, these are the best places for you to try. So kicking it off first, and we have the Mausoleum. The Mausoleum is pretty much the first level 85 area that you're going to come across in Diablo 2 Resurrected on Hell difficulty. This area can be found in the Burial Grounds, which is a short venture from the Cold Plains waypoint. In general, this is a nice early one to get to and quite an easy one to farm, as it has quite small corridors and the enemies for the most part aren't too tough. It can drop a nice bit of loot early on, and of course if you want to, before you make it inside the Mausoleum, you could always kill Bloodraven, the unique enemy that's sitting outside, as she also has the chance to drop you some nice loot. Now if you're struggling to make your way through Act 1, this is a really easy early one to get to and may well be worth your time. There's not an abundance of enemies, so it's not quite as difficult, although one thing to definitely watch out for, there are a lot of lightning immunes, so if you're a lightning build you may well want to steer clear of this one, as you just won't be able to do the damage that you want. I find this a nice area to farm early on if you're worried about your build and you're not using lightning. Because the corridors are quite confined, you don't get overwhelmed. Also, due to it being the first level 85 area, it means that you can have a little bit of luck on your side and you can drop anything in the game here with a bit of RNG. But all in all, there are better ones out there just because there's not the highest density of monsters in this area. Now next up, and we've got the Countess in the Forgotten Tower. I would say this one's probably widely considered one of the best farming locations for getting yourself runes. If you're trying to make an early to mid rune word, this is definitely the place for you. Now you're going to need to make your way through 5 different floors, and upon reaching the 5th floor you're going to meet the Countess, a unique enemy that will always drop you between 1 to 3 runes. Now even though the Countess isn't a level 85 area, it is definitely worth farming because you can get yourself an abundance of runes really fast if you're rinsing and repeating this process. Meaning there's a good chance for you to get something nice and to create the rune word you're after. However, you'll only be able to drop the rune up to low, so if you're trying to farm it for those very late game ones, you may need to find somewhere else, but in general, for most things, this is definitely the place to go if you're trying to put a rune word together and want guaranteed runes. Now next up is the Pit, and this is pretty much one of my favourite spots in the game. It's pretty easy to get to in Tamo Highlands. You're going to make your way to the Outer Cloister waypoint and then you're going to follow the road and it'll be somewhere in that region, usually not too far off. One of the reasons this is such a great location is because it's easy to get to. Again, it's level 85 so can drop anything in the game, and once inside it's only 2 floors which are very easy to navigate, and it's got an absolute abundance of rare enemies, meaning you can get a lot of drops if you've got a bit of luck on your side. In fact, even after completing the game and being able to do all of the other acts, I often find myself coming back here to farm this location because it's not quite as difficult, has a lot of enemies that can drop nice loot, and it has a nice chest at the end, meaning you can replenish pretty much everything you've used within it. Most times you can be able to grab yourself some health potions, scrolls, mana potions, and with a little bit of luck you may well find yourself a nice item as well. All in all, this is definitely, I would say, one of the best locations to farm in the game, not just for Act 1, because of its ease to get to, its ease to farm, and the fact that it's only 2 levels, meaning you can rinse and repeat this easily. So lastly, we have the Act 1 boss, and that's Andariel. If you use the Catacombs level 2 waypoint, you can make your way through the building in order to find the final boss of Act 1, and that's Andariel. This one I would say you probably want to be slightly more geared up, so it may not be something you're going to do as soon as you hit Hell difficulty, and it can also take a little bit more time to get to the actual boss because you've got to make your way through a few floors. Obviously if you've got teleport this won't be an issue, but without it you can find this one a little bit more time consuming than some of the others like the Pit. However, once you make it to her, it's definitely worth doing this location because she can drop some really nice items, ranging from her essence all the way to Stone of Jordan, which is highly sought after. All in all, she's definitely a boss worth farming. However, I would say you probably want to be a little bit more geared up, and you do want to make sure you've got some poison resist because she hits very hard and you can find your health falling dramatically if you've got low poison resist. Also, one thing to note, even though she does drop the Stone of Jordan, the Nightmare version of her has more chance of dropping it because her loot table is slightly smaller. However, lots of people will still farm her because she has the chance to drop her essence and of course an abundance of other gear along the way. Right, all you gamers, that's pretty much the best places that I've found to farm for Act 1 in Hell difficulty. I'll be bringing you a lot more hints, tips and guides and a lot of fun gameplay for Diablo 2, so if that interests you, hit that subscribe bell. But for now, take care, I'll see you all next day.